Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the morning meeting. We're thrilled to have you here with Groundwork for our last morning meeting of 2025. I realized as we were logging on, that makes me feel very anxious about the year end happening and all the things we want to get done. But we'll be back on January 8th. So we've already started filling out our agenda for January and February, and we're excited to come back after everybody hopefully has a nice restorative holiday season. Before we kick off with our presentation, I'll just share very briefly that the legislature in Ohio here broke last night. They are going to take a break. I don't anticipate seeing them for much activity before February. We're kind of hearing from all fronts that they're going to have a slow start to the new year. Um, We'll still be in the 136th General Assembly for next calendar year, and we'll flip over after elections next fall. So next January 2027 is when we'll see an influx of new members in the legislature, as well as a new governor. Um, so last night, things related to early childhood that came up. There was a big omnibus amendment, which means they put a whole bunch of stuff in Christmas tree ornament style, unrelated to one another, like your best tree that has like the kids' handmade ornaments and then the pretty ones your grandma gave you and all the different mismatch. It was a bill around intercollegiate sports, but they plugged in a couple amendments that did have to do with early childhood. When we got the language late yesterday evening, it looks like we are not too concerned around an amendment that would clarify that ECE grants are not publicly funded childcare. This looks like it was an administrative change and is not changing the enrollment process, which we know some folks have been having issues with on the ground, but it's not changing that process or changing the eligibility levels. And also an amendment to um, push out and delay the transition of payment on enrollment versus attendance for publicly funded childcare benefits. So that will now be pushed out to 2028. This is not that big of a surprise because of the federal shutdown. The final rules had not been put out around that transition yet. So the state had been kind of waiting to adopt. So those were kind of two of the big highlights. There are some other things that we'll cover in our newsletter, but I wanted to make sure to share that with our early learning friends. If you've got questions about any of that, feel free to ping me. Melissa's on the line as well here. We're happy to chat more. But I don't want to take any more time. If we got more at the end, we can chat more about crazy legislative activity. But I really, really want to make sure we get to our presenters here today. So I'll just briefly introduce our friends from the Greene County Educational Service Center. We have Grace and Carrie with us today. Grace, I should have double checked how to pronounce your last name. How do you say it? I'm so sorry.
Schoessow.
Say it one more time.
Schoessow.
Schoessow. Okay. Grace Schoessow is joining us from her work as the Director of Infant and Early Childhood Mental Health at the Greene County ESC in Yellow Springs, Ohio, one of my favorite towns to visit. With more than 20 years of experience leading innovative cross-system initiatives, Grace is dedicated to strengthening the mental health and development of Ohio's youngest children through early relationship-based approaches, and she leads a regional team of 12 infant and early childhood mental health consultants who partner with families, early learning programs, and community systems to advance early relational health and promote behavioral health. Grace believes that by investing early in stabilizing supports for children, communities can prevent costly behavioral health interventions, reduce strain on families, and foster the positive relationships essential for school readiness and lifelong well-being. And we completely agree. And Carrie Taylor, who's also a Groundwork 2025 Fellow, Early Childhood Fellow, rather, holds the Early Childhood Mental and Infant Health credential in Ohio, as well as an Ohio Teaching and Intervention Specialist license. Carrie has a bachelor's in social work and a master's in education and has been working with children and families for 20 years in a number of settings. Carrie is currently the Early Childhood Mental Health Coordinator for Greene County Educational Service Center, which you hear me say ESC, that's what that means. She has expertise in a variety of social, emotional, and behavioral evidence-based programs and is a certified trainer, including PACS Good Behavior Game, Triple P Parenting, Mental Health First Aid, The Growing Brain, Trauma 101, and many, many more. Carrie's extensive experience also includes work as a child advocate, ABA therapist, preschool teacher, and pediatric medical social worker. Carrie also volunteers as a CASA at CASA as a court-appointed special advocate. and she advocates in the court system for children's best interests. She's passionate about working with children, families, community partners, and teachers to promote social and emotional development of young children. Carrie and Grace, we're so thrilled to have both of you here. You're such experts in childhood trauma prevention and early childhood mental health intervention, and I'm really looking forward to learning from you today. I'll pass it right over to you.
Okay, thank you, Brittany. Everyone.
Sorry, tried to hit
It's
mute.
okay. It's okay. I'm Carrie Taylor. I'm happy to be with you here today. And as Brittany said, in my work over the last 20 years, I've worked alongside families and professionals who are doing difficult and important work in our communities. And through my work in social work, education, and mental health, I partnered with early intervention teams, children's services, home visitors, and court-involved families, helping them navigate complex situations and vulnerable moments in children and families' lives. So I'm passionate about advocacy work I do on behalf of children, and I've learned that when we invest early and we support caregivers of young children, we change developmental trajectories. Early childhood mental health consultation gives us the opportunity to intervene before situations escalate, and we bring relief to overwhelmed educators and stressed out parents. And when systems collaborate, then we know that we can create safe, nurturing pathways for kids. And now I'm going to let Grace introduce herself.
Thanks, Carrie. Good morning, everyone. My name is Grace, and I serve as the Director of Infant and Early Childhood Mental Health in Greene County Educational Service Center. And we're committed to this innovative cross-system solutions, and that includes an array of mental health services that we offer at Greene County Educational Service Center through our certified mental health services program. And it's really an honor to be here speaking with you on behalf of our team and infant and early childhood mental health consultants statewide. Groundwork's mission so closely mirrors the heart of our work, and that's what we're going to talk a little bit about today. So Groundwork's purpose is to this idea that it's never too early to invest in a child, but it can be too late. And that's exactly why ECMH consultation exists. Every day, my team and I have the privilege of stepping into those earliest moments, the most critical moments in a child's life, the moments when relationships and environments and the supportive adults shape a child's lifelong trajectory. And we work with families and childcare professionals and community partners to stabilize children who are struggling right now, whether it's due to stress or trauma, developmental concerns, or just the overwhelming demands placed on early learning settings. We believe deeply in the same foundational neuroscience that guides Groundwork's mission. Like the earlier we intervene, the more powerful and lasting the impacts. So this morning, in the next few minutes, Carrie and I are going to share what ECMH consultation looks like in practice and how specialized behavioral health professionals can change the arc of a child's story long before a preschool expulsion happens or a crisis call or a family breakdown happens, and how we partner with overwhelmed teachers and worried parents and strained healthcare system partners, and how prevention at the youngest ages is not just compassionate, it's evidence-based, cost-effective, and essential for building strong, resilient communities. So we're grateful to have the chance to be here with other leaders throughout Ohio who believe that we can create the best place to be a young child. And thank you for letting us lift up this work. And we hope it brings some sense of hope to families and to early educators across our state. So let's begin by grounding ourselves in what ECMH truly is. Carrie?
Okay. So I want to talk a little bit about what infant and early childhood mental health consultants do. And so consultants collaborate with adults in the child's life by working alongside them in daily activities. This can include sharing strategies, modeling evidence-based intervention approaches, and cultivating an understanding of the many factors that shape a child's development. Consultants always take a strength-based approach to their work. And I want to talk a little bit also about the consultative stance. So the consultative stance includes individual and family consultation, classroom consultation, programmatic consultation, and systematic consultation. So a few examples of that is when partnering with early intervention, we're consulting with one child and one family. We conduct a needs assessment, a strength-based needs assessment. We provide linkage to community resources, and then we provide parenting support through multiple different parenting programs, which we'll talk a little bit about as we go on. Classroom consultation is usually with one or two teachers in that classroom working to improve outcomes. This includes a classroom assessment, modeling evidence-based techniques, and then providing professional development if needed. And then programmatic is working with directors and administrative staff on consultation for the entire center or the entire school. And sometimes this involves professional development that we offer or planning sustainable changes. And then lastly, the systems level, and this is integrating mental health concepts into environments and communities where young children spend time. The systems level includes advocating for legislation that affects children and young families. It's also just simple things like my community recreation center where I live uses the same pillars of PBIS and for the social emotional learning that the public school uses. And so that same language is being heard at school, but also in rec centers and by coaches and community leaders. The consultative stance also helps to reduce the risk of adverse childhood experiences in real time. And so some of our presentation today, a lot of it is talking about how the things that we're doing are reducing adverse childhood experiences in our community. So Grace is going to give us a couple examples of infant early childhood mental health consultation right now.
So let's take a look at our first case. This is a very common scenario across Ohio. A toddler age 2 is experiencing extreme difficulty during drop-offs. So screaming, clinging, running from the room every morning was a crisis for this kiddo. His teacher was overwhelmed, her classroom rhythm thrown off, other children became dysregulated in response. So drop-off time just became chaos. Mom was in early recovery herself, barely balancing the work-life balance. These stressful mornings were really triggering her own anxiety, and she had already received 2 warnings at work for being late. Her stability and therefore the child's stability was at risk. The program director was under a lot of pressure. Teachers were asking her for a quick fix. The parents of other kids at the center were complaining about drop-off time and the stress that their child was experiencing in the classroom. So for the teachers and for the director, disenrolling this child felt like the easiest choice. And this is exactly the right time for an infant early childhood mental health consultant to step in. Because our consultants are credentialed master's level behavioral health clinicians, they can easily move between multiple levels of support in these kind of complex scenarios. So first, the consultant completed a child assessment. That's the Climate of Healthy Interactions for Learning and Development, a tool developed by the Child Research Center at Yale University. And this assessment helps understand relational patterns driving stress. The consultant then modeled co-regulation at drop-off and helped support the teacher in reframing the child's behavior as stress, not disobedience, and gave her strategies that she could immediately use to lower her stress and the stress in that moment in the first thing in the morning. The consultant also supported mom, validating her recovery challenges, offering Triple P, which is a positive parenting program that's been funded in Ohio, and offering strategies for predictable routines, strengthening her confidence, and managing mornings, and keeping mom's stress in check. And within 2 weeks, drop-off stabilized. And this is what ACEs mitigation looks like in real time. Okay, so let's take a look at another scenario. So our second case is a 4-year-old little girl whose behavior was spiraling. She was hitting, kicking, throwing toys, and she had injured another child in the classroom. Her teacher was exhausted, fearful of being hurt herself, and fearful of the other kids in the classroom being hurt. She told the parents their child was being aggressive and violent. Her parents were being called almost every day to pick her up early, resulting in lost wages, job instability, and enormous amount of stress at home. Her parents shared with the director they were doing all they could to try and straighten her out, and included, unfortunately, spanking her and sending her to bed without supper. But these strategies were only making things worse, and it was causing a lot of stress for the folks at the child care center who really felt like the parents were on a path towards some abusive or neglectful behavior. at the child care center, the other families were also expressing concerns for their children's safety in the classroom. And the center director felt caught between supporting her staff and responding to the pressure from the parents. The director reached out for support. So instead of doing an expulsion or a disenrollment or suggesting that they find another center that could better meet the needs of the child, she called the Hope Line. And so the ECMH consultant from our team was able to step in immediately. Our consultant began with a classroom observation using the child tool, identifying patterns of dysregulation and missed cues between the child and adults. They coached the teacher on preventative strategies, how to anticipate stress signals, structure transitions, using co-regulation before the child escalated, and seeing the behaviors differently. This is a really critical component of the work that we do. Reframing, not that she's a bad kid, but that her stress response system is overloaded. On the family side, the ECMH consultant conducted a supportive motivational interview with the parents and provided trauma-informed coaching focused on routines at home, expectations, positive attention, how that transition happens from home to school, and the transition back from school to home. This reduced stress at home and created consistency between the environments. The consultant also guided the director in trauma-informed ways of communicating with families, calming the situation down, preventing unnecessary removal. And the director and the consultant also planned and offered Ohio-approved professional development training series on site. And this was planned during nap time so that staff could be available, and it would during the day and worked best for them. And this helped target burnout, compassion fatigue, and give the staff some strategies to be able to cope with these stressful situations. So within weeks, the aggression decreased, the teacher felt confident again, and her stress was back in that optimal zone. The child remained connected to her learning environment and ultimately was maintained at the center. So this represents the unique value of infant early childhood mental health consultation and how we support the adults, and that the adults then in turn are able to stabilize the child. So these two cases demonstrate several core truths about ECMH. So first, adverse childhood experiences don't happen in dramatic or traumatic events. They happen every day, repeated moments, the morning chaos, the adult stress, the isolation, repeated suspensions. That's why ECMH consultation is such a powerful early intervention and prevention strategy. We offer strategies that help intervene precisely in these moments. Secondly, our consultants can work across these 5 interconnected levels. So helping at the child level, helping the child regulate, observing patterns, developing individual strategies. The family level, helping with positive parenting sessions that we offer in person and virtually. The triple P positive parenting and peace coaching, understanding stressors, strengthening routines, supporting parental mental health. We are quick to make referrals when appropriate to our behavioral health partners. Classroom level, improving teacher coping, classroom management techniques, skill development. As Carrie mentioned, we are trained in PBIS strategies and integrated MTSS, multi-tiered systems of support. So we try to help integrate the strategies across all of these different systems, so we're speaking the same language as professionals. And then we help with a relational health awareness and understanding that in a preschool toddler classroom, co-regulation is really key. Program level, we're helping the directors respond to crises, supporting policies, because sometimes those policies are the lever that really needs to be pushed. And strengthening communication with families is also really important. It's hard for parents to hear that their child is aggressive or violent. It's very difficult language to use. So we take a trauma-informed approach when we're helping develop programs, develop policies, and communicate with families in a trauma-informed way. And the systems level, cross-system teaming with early intervention, Help Me Grow, home visiting, nurse-family partnership, pediatric providers, behavioral health providers, early childhood educators, children's services, even the community librarians. We're ensuring continuity of care. And these multi-level supports reduce stress on educators, stabilize families, keep children connected to care, avoiding costly downstream interventions such as multi-system youth services or hospital-level behavioral health crises down the line. This is prevention in action. It's adverse childhood experience mitigation, and that's why ECMH is an integral part of Ohio's early childhood system. Okay, so just a few more points. The power of ECMH is unique. So we operate at every level of the system and can toggle back and forth based on what the needs are. And sometimes the consultant that's providing the family or child-centered consultation will work with another consultant to provide the training. We also address these ACEs or adverse childhood experiences the moment they're being created in order to mitigate and focus on healthy outcomes through positive experiences. This helps the escalating behavior, teacher burnout, parental stress, and the risk of exclusion from educational experiences. So ECMH interrupts the cycle before the child is expelled, before the parent might lose their job, before the teacher quits. Consultation also brings the licensed credentialed behavioral health professionals with the clinical expertise and knowledge into early childhood spaces and into the meetings within a community that where we're able to affect change. We also are really focused on the cross-systems collaboration that drives better outcomes. So we work to be catalysts for innovation and bringing together community partners. And this unified approach is how communities are able to prevent ACEs with intentionality. And Carrie's going to talk a little bit more about that right now.
Oh, Carrie, you're muted.
Sorry about that. Okay, so we know that from ages 0 to 3, there's tremendous brain growth in children. And we also know that early relational health is crucial for lifelong physical, cognitive, and emotional development. So by supporting early relational health, that involves providing caregivers with tools and resources through various systems to support children. So early childhood mental health consultants partner with many different systems, including child welfare, juvenile court, early intervention, Help Me Grow, Head Start, libraries, school systems, rec centers, pediatric offices, and many more. And so building these relationships help us to work to help children in our community. In infant and early childhood mental health, we talk about how early and often is the core. And so we know that when we intervene early, we reduce costs later. So now I'm going to talk a little bit about some community level partnerships that we have here in Greene County and highlight a few that, as you can see, the list is pretty extensive. This is what most infant and early childhood consultants, they work with lots of different systems, but a few things I want to highlight is our early intervention and Help Me Grow home visiting programs. We have consultants that go out on home visits and with home visitors, and we also work on collaboration and parent outreach. We also work on some reflective practice with the early intervention and Help Me Grow home visitors. With Head Start, we offer consultation, reflective supervision there also. We utilize the DECA, which is the Devereaux Early Childhood Assessment, to evaluate a child's strengths, and that evaluates strengths in attachment, initiative, and self-regulation. And then we also have some consultants on our team that are really active in perinatal work. They provide professional development sessions on perinatal mood and anxiety disorders. And they also connect with pregnant moms through local baby showers and community events. And one more thing I want to highlight is that our team is a part of a national and local cohort about inclusion to ensure that all children have access to strong, supportive early learning environments and services. Okay, so here are a few things I also want to talk about that we are currently working on. So we know that adults have to be okay for kids to be okay. And our services support adults who are who are focused on working with children. And so one of the things that we are offering every month, which Grace already talked about a little bit, is positive parenting. And we offer this both virtually and at local libraries. We also can offer it to childcare centers or schools and talk about specific topics that their parents are asking for. We also have a YouTube channel which we record these positive parenting sessions, and then they are put on the YouTube channel by subject. We utilize Triple P parenting, which Grace talked a little bit about, and our staff has Triple P certified instructors. We also host professional development sessions for all of our local partners, and we can tailor these professional development sessions specific to agency and the children that they work with. An example of this that we're doing currently is we're working with CASAs and GALs on how to use a trauma-informed lens when working with children. And I see I'm running out of time, so let me skip ahead. And there's one more thing I want to make sure I get to. Something we're really excited to offer is what's called the HOPE professional development, and HOPE stands for Healthy Outcomes from Positive Experiences. And these PD sessions are offered specific to educators and home visitors and those in healthcare. Because we know positive childhood experiences drive healthy child development, and they lessen the lifelong effects of adverse childhood experiences. So positive childhood experiences help children build resilience and grow into thriving, healthy adults. And so this is a professional development session that we're really excited that we're able to offer. And lastly, just a quick, real quick about the Hope Line, which is the Helping Ohio Preschoolers Excel. That's a free statewide program aimed at reducing the rate of expulsion. And so we respond to those Hope Line calls within 48 hours. And we'll send the slides will be sent out. So there's a lot more things on here that we're really excited about that I didn't get to because we're running out of time, but they're all there. And then lastly is our resources and toolkits. So here are a few things that we recommend. Our email is on there, so feel free to reach out if you would like more information about any of the things that we talked about today. Thank you.
Thank you, Carrie and Grace. And I hate to rush you because there's so much rich content in here and tangible, useful content that I know a lot of our folks on the call can use in their own work. I appreciate that you highlighted the Hope Line as a statewide resource, Carrie. That kind of goes to one of the questions we did get in the chat. Um, are the programs that you referenced around consultation, I think in Grace's slides, specifically around those case studies of a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old, those were so helpful. Does every ESC around the state offer that type of consultation? And then a second question is whether the consultations are being promoted with some of our corporate partners that provide childcare around the state. Either one of you could answer that.
I'll take that one.
Yeah.
So we are a rare bird. In order to offer IECMH consultation services, you have to be a behaviorist certified accredited behavioral health center. So we are also, so we're an educational service center with a community mental health or behavioral health center within it. And then our ECMH program is housed within. With that being said, every community across all counties in Ohio have access to IECMH consultation. So we cover all of Southwest Ohio. We go up as far as Shelby County over to Darke County, Preble, Madison, not Madison. We partner with Nationwide Children's Covers Madison County. But anyway, any Southwest Ohio, it would be likely us responding to any request for technical assistance or training. And we would cover a smaller footprint for the direct sending out a consultant. It's a 7-county region in upper Miami Valley. So yes, reach out to the hotline, send a Hope Line consultation request. That can be for training, it can be for technical assistance, and then the consultant in your region then will reach back out and respond.
Thank you so much for clarifying that. That point of entry is so important for folks, and really, really appreciate you being able to answer that, Grace, and appreciate the question too in the chat, Lynn. I know we're short on time here, but the Hope line is called out here, as well as the online request form. Everything will come out in our email follow-up. We'll post everything. And I think contact info is available in the slides as well. So I'm sure Grace and Carrie are available for folks. Lots of love coming through in the chat as well for the partnerships and interest, it looks like, from our friends at 4C, and broadening some partnerships there too. I'll also just mention that I put in the chat a stakeholder survey. This is super brief. For anybody on the call, feel free to pass it along to colleagues too. We want to make sure all of our programming, not just the morning meeting, but everything that Groundwork does is responsive to needs that you all are having, and helping us drive impact through advocacy and engagement. So if you have a few minutes to take that, we'll plug that in our newsletter as well. Grace and Carrie, thank you so much. You are both just giving me so much hope going into this holiday break around just seeing really tangible ways to provide upstream intervention services for young children. So thank you for sharing the work you do. Thank you for the great examples and partnerships. I hope everyone has a really restful, restorative holiday season with their loved ones, and take some time for themselves to really rest. I'm just going to say the word twice because it's that important before we come back in the new year and endeavor upon. I know everyone's work doesn't stop over the holidays, but especially for folks doing advocacy work with us before we re-engage in the new year. So thank you so much. Happy Thanksgiving and happy holidays to everybody who celebrates. Take care. Thank you.